I can't hear you, bud. There we go.
Trevor, you're muted.
All right. Thank you for reminding me to unmute. For those that this is new, so there's going to be a little wonkies here and there because I needed to record it. But I do a sales training every Thursday at 10 Pacific up. And so this is where we're going to be doing it for everybody. There's no charge. It's just, hey, come. I'll have guests on from time to time. We do a lot of mindset stuff. But was being asked a pretty specific question today. And it kind of timed out well because it was something we're going to talk about by Stephen Bryan. And we're going to talk about how I use the 5 voices and the 4 C's, and we'll talk about what the 4 C's are to really connect with clients, because that's like what really matters in today's day and age. How many people here that are paying attention and listening know they're like voice order and done the 5 voices? Yes. Right. So if you haven't done it yet, Brian Williamson has some training going on and coming up. We also have a test you can do. It's really important. There is a reason that Quality and Symmetry have a leadership development officer and that we choose to use Giant. It's the best tool we've found to use. Okay. There's other stuff out there, but right, like where it's going. But one of the things that I've really deep dive and has given me that's made me really good is I've learned the voices so well. I'm good at quickly figuring out what the client who I'm talking to's voice is by asking some questions. And then I know what's going to trigger them or what I need to do to get them to connect. Okay. So if you're just in here working, don't want to listen, just you turn the sound off. But really what I want to go through, right, is the 4 C's. I think this is super important. Okay. It's curiosity, care, certainty, and clarity. All right. When you're asking the questions, people know whether you're actually being curious or if you're just asking to ask, right? But if you're genuinely asking curiosity questions, it builds that connection. Care, right? How do we show we care? Not over talking them, not when we ask a question, letting them answer. I got paid what I felt like was a very cool compliment at Agency Owner Academy. And I got said to me, they said, for someone that talks as much as you do, I've never met anyone that listens as well as you do. And I've worked really hard at that because you need to hear what that person's saying. And that comes from care. Certainty is, do you believe in the product? Do you believe in what we're selling? Are you sure about what you're telling them? Are you like, oh, this is going to be $80? Or you're like, hey, this is only going to be $150 a month and we're going to protect you and your family. So like that certainty and then clarity. If you're hesitant and not clear, the client's not going to feel clear. Like it's pretty straightforward with that. So out of these, I want you to ask yourself, okay, I got to shrink that down just a hair, right? Out of these, right, ask yourself, which of the 4 C's comes most naturally to you? Is it easy to be curious? Is it easy to care? Is it easy to be certain? Is it easy to have clarity? Like ask yourself that. That will help you connect with clients easier. But more importantly, which one, when you're on the phone, do you tend to overlook? What are you overlooking? What are you not like? What is in your like 30% that you're like, I need to do a better job of being certain. I need to do a better job of caring or whatever that is. What happens when you're talking to someone and a conversation lacks curiosity? What's that conversation like? When you're talking to someone and they're talking at you and they're not being curious, how's that conversation feel?
One-sided.
Does it feel like that person cares about you at all? No. Okay. So like that's why being curious is so important. Okay. Like, and care through confidence instead of sympathy. And because people can take sympathy as like not actually caring, when we can all say we've been around people when you're like, man, that person really cares. Like when I'm with that person, I can feel they actually care about me versus like they're saying sorry to say sorry, but I don't feel that care there. Certainty is one of the biggest factors in your tone and clarity. Okay. Your tone and clarity are almost 100% driven by certainty. When you're not as confident, you talk faster. You talk at a higher pitch. You don't talk in a voice like you would talk to your best friend with. All right. So clarity is also going to help you get more people to show up. And then ask yourself, how could mastering these 4 C's transform the relationships? Okay. So now what we're going to do is how do I combine the 5 voices with the 4 C's? Now, this is going to be like a couple week kind of thing we're doing. There's a lot of data in here. Okay. Understand that nurturers are the biggest population between them and guardians in the world. They make up almost 75% of the people. So you can almost flip a coin and guess that the people you're going to talk to are going to be either a nurturer or a guardian. Okay. So nurturers, right? What are their drivers? Peace, security, belonging, care. What happens when something negative, when they don't feel that way, when they feel emotionally rushed, they shut down, they avoid confrontation. And when they're triggered, they don't show up. That's just what they do. But when you can connect with them, that really helps. So what I did through here is I built questions for you guys to go through on how to like develop those 4 C's with the voices. Okay. So like what to ask, like what do you ask a nurturer about being curious? How do you show a nurturer you care? How do you maintain certainty with a nurturer? How do you show clarity with them? Okay. So Debbie, who I'm going to pick on because she's a nurturer, right?
Yes.
How does it feel when someone's like, hey, tell me about the boys, Deb?
Oh, it fuels me up. I talk about them all the time.
Right? Like, because that's family values, right? What's that protection feel like to you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Was that another question?
Yeah, because I'm going to tie it into the clarity.
How does the protection?
Like, how does
Yeah, I mean,
protection
it would be
and your family
yes,
matters to you?
yeah,
Mama
absolutely.
bear,
Yeah, it'll be huge.
right? So, how much does it help when you repeat what someone repeats back to you what they say, because then you understand the decision that's being made, whether it's in business or personal? Do you find like that naturally helps you?
Yes.
When I don't do that to Mel, she gets annoyed with me because
She taught you well.
yeah, because that's what you, right? That's what she needs. Okay. So, right, nurturers need that. They need to feel heard. They need to feel that emotional safety. Okay. Like, and here are questions to like identify it. So how do you actually identify their voice as you're getting to know them? Right, ask them, what are you hoping to protect? What does peace of mind mean to you? What do you usually, how do you make, this is one of my favorite ones, how do you normally make these important family decisions? What's that process look like for you and your family? And then what's my favorite 2 words after I ask that question? What do I do?
Shut up.
Thank you. Right, my 2 favorite words, shut up. So I literally had an agent call me yesterday, and he told me I can talk about it. So Daniel Chams was doing some stuff with Mike and Dawson, and Mike was explaining to him, I don't ask, because he called me, he's like, I've never heard you say this either. He's like, how come you don't ask people what do they think? I'm like, because that's like the worst question ever you can ask them. I'm like, he was like, seeing what I say. He goes, so what do you normally say? He goes, I've heard it. I go, I always ask him, like, how do you feel? How's that make you feel? He goes, man, Mike just told me the same thing. I'm like, Mike and I might as well be the same human being. So like, like just, but it's that, right? Like, why do people not show up? Because they don't feel like you cared yet. they don't feel like you made that connection yet. Okay. So those are questions, right? It's there. And then ask yourself these. How can you avoid overwhelming them with too much? When I go to Mel and we're planning out our strategy and our travels, if I give her too many options, she's like the meme where she throws all her paper in there and she's like, deuces, I'm out. Like, she's like, nope, like, cool. Like, I don't want to deal with that. Okay. So understand when we're trying to connect with someone to protect their family, that matters pretty quick. Miller's smiling because S probably does the same thing. So, right, like it's too much, and it's like, no, I want to go there. Okay. So, guardian, right? What do guardians love? They love order, structure, stability, right? Like they want it reliable. They want to know the plan. Okay. If you come across as disorganized or you don't feel like you have your stuff together, right? Like June, like when you feel you're talking to someone, because Miller's a guardian, so I'm gonna pick on Miller, right? When you feel like you're talking to someone and they're not organized and don't have that, do you feel like you question their motives? You'll disengage, right? You'll step back and kind of have that wall up.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely will step back.
Right. So we don't know this when we call our clients. Okay. So our goal is to try to emotionally connect with them as quick as we can. So you have to understand what triggers people, because then if you see that trigger, I'll be like, oh, okay, I know what they are. Okay. So how's it go through? Right. So how do they operate? They're disciplined, they're precise, value systems and structure. I can't even fathom how many Excel and Google Sheets June has on his computer and his cloud drive. Like a lot. Like it's infinity. Like but it's like they like systems, right? Scott Summers, Guardian. You've seen Scott. Scott likes his systems and how he processes through. Okay. So how do you connect with them? Ask them their experience with life insurance and financial products. Hey, have you had any policies before? Do you know anything about that? Right? Respect that they need more process and facts. Okay. Know that if you're certain, it's going to help when you're like, hey, this is the process. We're going to do this today. We're going to apply later. We're going to go through there. And then clarity is provide the details in a logical order for them to see and go through. Okay. So ask yourself, like, how can you earn trust from them? What do you need to do to prepare? We're going to talk about that, Shelly. So we got a whole section on that. We'll get to that. So I kind of want to just do the overview here and then we'll go from there. So how do you make those connections? Right? Here are questions, right? I'm asking for each voice that you can ask to figure out. Right? So what did we say here? Here we said to a nurturer, what are you hoping to protect through this conversation? Or if you're figuring out they're like, you feel like they're a guardian, how do you evaluate financial decisions? That's going to perk them up. Right? Like a guardian, a lot of times is just going to want to know the numbers. So don't worry, we got lots of stuff here. That's why I said this is a couple week thing. All right. So, again, like structure, transparency matter. Connector, Miss Chung, right? Have meetup, will be there, right? Connectors are like the relationship people, right? They want you to have some energy, some vision, okay? And if you call and you're like, hi, this is Trevor with the Cemetery Financial Group here to protect your mortgage, right? Like they're going to disengage like instantly. They're going to be like, right? Nope, I'm out, right? Like they don't feel any energy. They don't feel any love, okay? If they don't feel a connection with you, they're probably not going to show up. Like they're just going to be like, I'm going to find somebody better, okay? So what do I do to try to figure out if they're connectors? I ask about their personal professional goals. And if that lights them up and like turns like you see like the light shine in them, it'll change it. Care, right? Like I keep it up in there. And I'm always enthusiastic about the next step with connectors. Okay. So how do you keep a connector engaged without over talking? How many of you have talked to someone and you're like, that person just won't shut up? Like they're like, from a client standpoint, like you're like, man, they feel like they need a friend. I will bet large sums of money that person's a connector and you're connecting with them. But you also, we're professionals here. You also don't want to spend 4 hours on the phone with everybody. Okay. So you got to manage that side, right? So things to ask, right? If you ask a guardian like Miller, hey, what are you most excited about this year? You're going to get a quick, short answer. You ask a connector like Linda, what are you most excited about? She's going to give you an in-depth answer. Like she's going to tell you, oh, I got this and I got this. And, you know, we just moved to New Jersey. We just got a new condo and there's this whole fall tour coming and I'm working on all this cool advanced market stuff. And she's going to like go it up. And where someone that's like more a guardian, if you ask that question, they're going to be like, oh, you know, we got some cool stuff coming in the future. That's right. So you're asking what questions to ask. These are questions you can ask. Okay. Another one, as you learn how the voices operate, and what goes through, go look at, go look at what and how they connect. Right. And, I always like asking, how can I make this process enjoyable for you? And again, you guys have access to all this, but asking that question is like super helpful. Okay. Creatives, smaller first voice number. All right. A big one with them is you got to explore like the deeper why behind their goals. Okay. The creative, like they're going to connect. They want their process and purpose to be the same. So what's the process here? Right. Like we're trying to figure this out and where to go, and how to do that. Okay. So things you have to do, slow down, right? You guys know I say it all the time. Your pace should be 75% of what you're doing. Okay. On where you're going. And, again, if you ask a nurturer what inspired you to start thinking about financial protection, you're gonna be like, it's not really going to excite them to talk about. But what impact do you want, things to have on your family, right? Like these are things you can learn to ask as they go. Okay. I just saw a notification snapshots out, by the way. And then Pioneer, right? I'm a Pioneer. So for me, right, I'm to the point. Okay. Like if I get triggered and I feel like I'm talking to someone and they're like incompetent in the terms of like I'm asking for their help and they're like, I'm going to be like, I'm good. Like I'm all right. Just get to the point. Okay. So, and my thing, and I've said it for years, it's not a good thing. But if I react negatively, I'll just shut down. So that's where, I've always told people in my life, how do you know if someone doesn't care? If I don't care about them, I just won't talk to you. Like I'll cut you out. Like it's a terrible thing. Like, but that's like, right? Like that's how you shut them off. So with pioneers, and again, this is the smallest percentage of the population. Only 7% of people are pioneers. Okay. Like what outcome are you looking for? I can tell you, hey, I want this, this, and this. I'm very defined, right? Do you want the full details or do you want a short abbreviated version, right? A lot of executives, when I'm asking their job, I'm seeing, are they a teacher? Are they a CEO, right? I'm trying to figure out like how to do those things, okay? So Shelby asked, how do you do this? Okay. Question, how can you identify that within the first minute? How can you adjust the tone your pace? So these are all the questions you should be asking yourself, okay, on what you're doing through there. And I'm going to go back up, don't worry. And then, right, emotional calibration really matters, okay? So as we go through and you get this document, I want you to go through there. So what do you guys think you could do when you're first getting a hold of someone to identify their voice? What are things you think you could do?
Open-ended questions.
Yep. Open-ended questions. What else?
And listen.
Yeah. So I think using empathy is better than emotion. Okay. Because people want to know in today's day and age that we care, correct? Yes. How many people want to deal with people that like in 20, especially in 2025, right? Who wants to deal with people that don't feel like they care? Right? Like nobody. Okay. Like nobody wants to go talk to someone now in today's day and age where they're like, that person doesn't care. Like they'll literally like go through there. Okay. So as you're working through these processes and learning this, okay, you want to listen to tone, pace, and their first words. So if you hear a statement like, hey, I just want to make sure my family is okay, what voice do you think that would be?
A nurture?
Yes. Very
From
good.
From a nurture?
Yeah. Right. So, hey, what would that be? What about, I've been meaning to do this forever? If you hear that statement, what kind of person do you think you're talking to? What do you think their voice is?
Nurturer.
It would be more, that's more connector. So generally in connectors, nurture is their third voice. So it's in the middle, but it's not weak, right? But like connectors are so busy doing things, they have 7,000 balls in the air. And it's like, hey, I Lynn is chuckling because I just described her life. And so, but it's right, like, hey, I know I need to do this, but like it's there. Okay. So what if you hear like, I just want to make sure my family's okay? Who do you think that's going to apply towards?
Well, that's the nurturer.
Guardian.
It's guardian. Yep. Yeah. So right. Hey, like, right, like there, like on the nurture side, and then a guardian is going to be more like, tell me what this policy covers. What do you mean heart attack? What do you mean stroke? What do you mean living benefits? What do you mean critical chronic terminal illness? What do you mean the Everest rider? Like, what's a concierge service? Okay. Right. If someone says like, hey, I want to create something meaningful for my family, do you think that's something a pioneer is going to say? No. Right. That's something a first floor's creative is going to say. Okay. From there, what a pioneer is going to say, I'm going to say, hey, tell me what makes the most sense here. Okay. So you want to hear those type of examples. Okay. You want to learn to listen for what they're saying instead of having to think about what you're saying next. So let me say that again. You need to focus on what they're saying instead of thinking about what you're going to say next. Okay. And mirror like their tempo through there. Okay. Like as it goes through it, like it's the best way to like explain that there. Like,
Be a chameleon.
yeah, well, it's learning, like, so it goes back to knowing yourself to lead yourself, the infinity matrix. Okay. Like that is super important there. All right. Because what happens in this business, we start with, I don't even know what I'm doing. I have no clue. I'm just trying to get people. And then I got people to answer the phone. Great. Now I get them to respond to me. Now I'm just not talking to them, but now I can actually have a conversation. And now you're selling appointments. You're not selling protection yet. You're selling the appointment. So what happens? You do like I did my first month of the business and your show rate's 11%. Okay. And then, right, you're like, oh, okay, that sucks. I don't like getting no-showed. So how do I turn that around? You have to know yourself to lead yourself. Okay. So then it's like, now you learn how to make that emotional connection in the appointment and lock them down. Okay. So how do you make that emotional connection? Through questions. right? We have to, again, what were those, right? What are the 4 C's there? Anybody?
It was
Curiosity,
care.
care, certainty, clarity.
There you go.
You're
Clarity.
Linda's cheating. I know Linda knows these. Yes, right? Curiosity, care, certainty, clarity. Okay. It is really important here, right? To use, like, to learn that and be there. Right. So guys, I want you to, and gals, I want you to think of it this way. And I've just been saying this a lot lately, and I don't know why it keeps coming up, but I feel like I'm supposed to keep saying it. Right. This is not 3 to 5 days. This is not 3 to 5 months. This is a 3 to 5 year program. Okay. It is less time than you have to go to college like Linda did to be an attorney. And if you do that and you learn these things, guess what? Just like when you start off, you don't go into college and start taking advanced high-end chemistry and engineering classes when you haven't done, algebra 101 and basic chem yet. So why are you trying to do all these advanced things when you haven't done the basic core foundations? Okay. And that's what this does here, right? Is you have to become a student to learn how to do this. Okay. Yep. Darren Stubbs, right? Talked about it. I've heard him say it before, but I love his explanation of it, right? Is he talks about his deck of cards. I think it's a great explanation on, what we're doing here. We're just sorting, right? You can be going through the shoe, right? Like Craig was talking about it on the Be a Better Builder call this morning. It was awesome, right? Like it's the time, the math behind it is the time to press is when you've had so many no's that yes is about to come, right? Like I've gotten to know Sierra the last few months. I love her story, right? I mean, she was thousands of dollars into this and had not made one sale yet and was like, I know I'm right there. I'm right there. I'm going to keep working on it. And then it turned, right? Like it's just gonna, it's gonna turn around that corner. So you have to like take that time, right? Like as we go through and learn this, right? So that's why I built this. So you can ask yourself, right? How do I learn how to do these things? Okay. One of them is you got to read stuff. You got to go to classes. Okay. And what you're learning to do there really matters. Okay. Pull this up. I got some more training. Okay. So do you think, ask yourself this question, do you think you lead with your strongest voice first? Like whatever your first voice is, do you think you lead with that and you know yourself well enough that you know how to connect with everybody else? Because that's ultimately what this comes down to, is this is a connection business. Okay. So can we all agree, put a 1 in chat for me, that people no longer respond to information, they respond to emotion. Right? Think about all the fake information in the world today. With AI now, I don't even know if a video is real half the time anymore. Right? Everybody's guard is up automatically. Okay. Right? Like how, right? Like how many people here answer the phone if you know the person calling, let alone if you don't know the number? How many people will even answer the call if you know who's calling? Yeah, right? Like most people don't. Most people don't even want to answer. It depends. Thank you for being honest, Lissy. Thank you. Right? Sophie, I hate answering the phone. Right? Send me a text. And that's same. Have anybody ever listened to my voicemail? Anybody besides my wife? Does anybody know what my voicemail says? My voicemail says, stop and listen to this message. Hi, this is Trevor. Do not send me a voicemail. I will not listen to it. Send me a text message like it's 2025. That's literally what my voicemail says. I hate voicemails and I get sent or voice memos and I get sent them all the time. It makes me crazy. Like, but I got to listen to them. It's there, but I don't want to deal with that. Right. And then we have the clients that only want to text. As we know, we can't do that. Okay. Yeah. I'm not checking voicemail. There is 0% chance. I'm just not doing it. Okay. So think about the noise we're overwhelmed with in today's environment. AI spam, robocalls, fake offers, right? Like think about all of that stuff you get in your own personal life. And now we're just going to respond to someone that has requested information. Okay. So do people buy products or policies? Yes or no?
They buy what they see value in.
People buy people.
Yeah.
People buy people. That's what they buy. I love, and I mean, when I say I love what Craig said this morning on that call. What is everybody comes in and they're so worried about knowing all this stuff about all these products when 95% of the time we're going to sell 3 anyways. Okay. I just literally can't say it any better. The most valuable thing you can do for your clients and families is be here a year from now and still be in business. That is the most valuable thing you can do. You don't have to sell them the cheapest policy. You don't have to sell them the best policy. You have to sell them the policy that can help protect them, that's going to keep you in business. So then as you get better at this game, you're here a year from now. Because if you're not here a year from now, you're doing them disservice. Agreed? Right? This game is not about scripts. It's not. The scripts we have work. That's why the company's doing $300 million a year. Okay. It's about connection. How many people like to feel connected to when they're dealing with someone? Like in your life, in your experience, who's a really good person? Because listen, we're in the service business. That is the business we are in. We are in the service business. Okay. Connection is the most important. Nothing else matters if there's not connection. Nothing. Okay. Why do we follow certain leaders? Is it because we feel connected to them? Do you tend to struggle to follow a leader that you don't feel connected to? And what are traits you feel connected to in a leader? That like, hey, like when they have this trait, I feel like I can connect to them. Put it in chat for me. Yep, honesty. Yep. They listen to you. They're real. Yep. You want to know that people are authentic. Can we agree, right? We want to know. Yep, smile on phone, right? Authentic, empathy, value others, relatable, for sure. Like that's what like makes you like the most there. It's the exact same with clients. Clients are going to follow you. It's why, how many people here have had a hairstylist that when they moved, you either cried because they moved too far away or you followed them where they went? Anybody ever have that? I have. Steve. For the beard. That was awesome. That made my day. Right? I drive an hour to go to mine. Why? Because you trust her, right? She brings value to you. People will follow you forever if they trust you and you feel you bring value to them. Doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter what you're doing, they will follow you wherever you go. Okay? Like it's the exact same. That's how you got to treat your clients instead of treating them like a transaction. Right? We too often treat people like a transaction because we're like desperate and we need to make money and we're in a tough spot. Oh yeah, like Steve, I am incredibly prissy about my hair. I am like, I had the best girl. I had the same girl 7 years. She was when we lived in Arizona. She was Maggie was amazing. I've literally like got Maggie to give me directions. So now when I walk in, I tell them what she tells me to say because I've had like some bad haircuts on the road, like bad, right? So need a new style like Bender. That's funny. But right, like, so now let's have a real conversation. I want you to put in the last time you ignored a text from a number you didn't recognize. Today. We're that phone number, people, and they just requested the information. They don't know us yet. It's why we got to call as well, right? It's why we got to pick up the phone and call. Right? Same, right? Like within the hour, right? We live in an environment. Listen, in the long run, all this A2P 10 DLC stuff they've put in is going to be amazing for us. It's going to help filter out a bunch of the noise. Okay. In the meantime, we're in the midst of a mess, right? Like it's a mess right now. Okay. So here's a better question. This is super interactive. What made you actually respond to someone you didn't know?
Say that question again. I think because if I was to respond to someone, it's just a feel thing, gut thing, spidey.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just have spidey senses.
What made you respond to someone that you saw the text or a call, and maybe you had even forgot you were requesting information? What made you respond to that? I don't care if it's an email, a text, a phone call. What made you respond to someone that you didn't know?
Maybe feeling authentic. That they're real, they're human, they're there to help genuinely. That those are kind of things that I would look for.
I love, right? If it seemed real. Sarah, because I know how it feels to be left in the dark. Curious about their service, right? They spark my interest. Here is how Jamie, Susie, and I became friends. Okay. I never asked Jamie for a thing, like ever. Like, but we followed each other on social forever. And I think Jamie's really funny. Like, I like her sense of humor. I personally just find the stupid shit she finds funny. So I would just comment and post and, like do that. And then on our AO run, I saw something that she does really, really well. Okay. And I'm like, hey, can I get 5 to 7 minutes? That's all I asked her for because I was serious. I was like, I knew it. And I said, this is exactly what I want to ask you. And here's why. And she responded to me. And I've asked her since, like, why did you respond? She goes, part of it, she goes, you caught me at the right time. She was like, she literally told me where she was, what she was doing. She was like, it was like 10:30 at night. I had gotten into bed and your message was on top. And she's like, you caught me at the right time, at the right place. You need to remember that for sales. And because of that quick conversation, it's now turned into a friendship where I pretty much we text each other almost every day. Like that's what we have to do with our clients, right? That's why we got to call in the mornings. That's why we got to call in the evenings. I finally got a lady to respond just a little bit ago. We've been dripping her, calling her. She's like, oh, I have a crazy work schedule. Like, I can't connect till the weekend. Great. Well, now she responded, but why? She's seen me call her, follow with a text. See me call her, follow her with a text. I'm also, in the meantime, I'm sending pictures of Major. Hey, me and Major are waiting to connect with you and help you protect your family. If you don't have a dog, like, go make one up. Like, dude, Sarah, she got a great, cute baby. right? Like send pictures of your cute baby. Like that's like a cheat code. Everybody loves a baby. And frankly, if you don't, I probably don't want you as my client anyways. Right? Like if you don't as you go through there, right? Like how does it go? Okay. So like people, what they're trying to do, right? And how many of us has done this? Are you just, when you're not answering them, are you trying to protect your own time and energy and safety? Is that what you're personally trying to do? Yes. Right? That's all they're trying to do. Okay. Like the old days of salespeople are the best talkers is like dead. The best agents today are the most self-aware, emotionally stable people. That's who the best agents are. Okay. I personally think the most important form of currency in today's world is trust. Because if you earn that trust, that is your currency. And whoever earns it generally is who's going to win that person's business. So how many times have you not followed up when you said you're going to follow up, or not called if you said you're going to call, or that what they want to see, it's there. And emotional safety, like put a 1 in the chat if for you in your own personal life, if emotional safety is a prerequisite for you to engage with another human being. So what makes you think our clients are the same way? They are. That's why we got to make them feel safe. Okay. So how many, like in a given week, how many spam texts or phone calls do you get? Put it in the chat. How many do you think you get a week? 5 a day, right? 5 to 10. Yeah. I don't even get me started on email, Bender. Like the number's infinity on email. Yeah. How many people here have had a client that when they filled out the form, the email they gave you was their spam email? It wasn't their real email yet. And then when you're doing the application, you actually get their real email. How many people have done that? Me. I literally have an email for that crap, right? I have an email for that. Most people do. Me too. It's my Yahoo. It's a Y mail. It's literally Trevor Tipton and Y mail. That's literally what mine is. So, you know, like, so what do you makes you think your clients aren't doing that? That's why activity is what matters here. That's why activity is what matters. That's why funnel is such a game changer, because we can have so many more at bats at the plate. Okay. So what can we do to show our clients that we're not part of the noise? What stuff we can do that we're not doing right now to show them that's there? How many of you ever send like an introductory text with a picture? How many of you are doing like I've trained you to do and make a loom and have a loom you can send over introducing yourself so they know you're real? Right? And you just say, hey, Linda, this is Trevor. I'm the broker you reached out to. I'm super excited to talk to you about this, you know, these living benefits or this DFL or whatever it is, you know, this mortgage protection. Super excited to connect with you. And I'm not talking about calling like MIG leads here, right? I'm talking about working brand new real leads. Send that. Yeah. So Loom is, and you can literally do it on your phone too, Steve, but Loom, you can do it on your PC. It's a recorder that'll record you. You can screen share. You can do all kinds of really cool stuff. So, right, business card with a photo, it's send a short video. Yeah, like absolutely, Miller. Like, listen, they've knocked on doors in the insurance industry for 50 years. So, but yeah, like, listen, you know, send them a picture and let them know, like they're real. Right? Like, so like you got to let them know you're not the bot. right? Because as soon as they know you're like an actual human, they'll probably talk to you. Okay. So what does, like, I want to ask this is like, and I'm going to transition here. What do you think? Like, what's the right way to ask this? How can you take responsibility for the tone and energy you bring into the world? What's your mindset as you're about to pick up the call? Like, what can you do there?
I was going to type it, but personal development, or if you're someone who likes music, do music before, something to get you upbeat and positive, whether it's an audiobook or a podcast or something of a personal development, just positive information, whatever that is for what works for you before going into an appointment.
Right.
Or a dial session or whatever, activity, income producing activity that you're engaging that day.
Okay. Agreed. Right. So how many people have ever gotten on the call when you started the appointment and asked the client if his now is still a good time? Anybody guilty of that? Right. So one of the things I get that I try to implement right away is, hey, Katie, you know what? Most families tell me they almost didn't take my call because they thought I might be spam or like an AI bot. And I can totally understand that because I get so many of those calls in today's day and age. Do you think a transition statement like that will help you connect with someone better? Sure, right? You're like saying, hey, I know this can feel like spam, but now that you know I'm real, it's not. Right? Like, what? Yeah, it's relatable. Hey, most families are there, right? Like, as it goes down, you want to ask, like how that runs through. Okay. So, right, my challenge to you, the homework here is take the 4 C's. If you haven't done the 5 voices test yet, go do it. Just Google giant voices test, ask in chat. I'm sure somebody has a link. I have one. I just not in front of me. Take the 4 C's and rate yourself how you're doing there, and then figure out where you need to like get stronger, because it'll make a huge difference. So, right, if you're not getting people to show up a bunch, it's probably because they don't feel you were curious. They either don't feel you care, they weren't certain, or they're not clear. Right? Once you can start mastering those, makes all the difference. And that's all I got for today. So we're gonna have, it's like we're in the process of finishing building some really cool new stuff out that Sean and I have been working on. I'll share it with you. We got some really, really cool stuff that will be done by the end of this weekend. That is going to have access to everything, because we have it in the Google Share Drive right now, but we're building some extra stuff. So it's just something with this project of us all coming over here. We've been working on,